My name is Caroline DeLinks, and I'm covering the tourism crisis in Hawaii. Tourism is defined as spending time away from home to visit new locations, try new activities, and experience different cultures and scenery. Travel and tourism's direct contribution to gross domestic product, which is called GDP, was about 9.9 trillion US dollars, which is about 9.1% of the total GDP in the world. So it's a really big industry that moves a lot of money. People depend on tourism for their income because they're small businesses, and in order to travel, people need to buy flights, places to stay, food, and they pay for activities such as scuba diving or visiting different national parks. Tourism can have consequences because, especially at certain destinations where there's a higher level of tourism than others, there's a term called overtourism, which is the phenomenon whereby certain places of interest are visited by excessive numbers of tourists, causing undesirable effects for the places visited. Hawaii is definitely a place that has overtourism occurring. And the downsides of this are overcrowding, environmental damages, increase in cost of living for residents and locals, traffic problems, and respect for locals and cultural traditions. And in Hawaii, by 2018, tourism grew to over 20% of the state's economy. And in 2019, Hawaii had 10 million tourists compared to a resident population of only 1.4 million. There was a shift in what the income was primarily made of in Hawaii around the 1960s from plantation agricultural based economy to a tourism economy. So Hawaii is not the only place that experiences this issue. And in fact, many places around the world, especially after COVID-19, have had a boom in tourism. But other places are establishing certain regulations and laws that tourists have to follow so that their land and cities and residents aren't damaged in negative ways. So Peru, Machu Picchu specifically, created rules that there are only 2 timed entries per day with an approved guide, so tourists can only go there twice for a certain amount of time. They also can only visit certain ruins, so other ruins are like off limits and under protection. Other countries have banned large coach buses, limited the number of beds in hotels, and added tax on foreign visitors to kind of limit tourism. There was in the U.S. the National Parks and Recreations Act of 1978, which required U.S. national parks to adopt carrying capacity limits for all areas of each park unit and general management plans for individual parks. Many parks did not abide by these regulations, unfortunately. Limiting the number of tourists allowed in an area at once could lead population levels to be less tourist dense and provide space for locals, because tourists take up a lot of resources such as food and clean water alongside housing, which also led to a housing crisis in Hawaii as well. The Hanauma Bay study was conducted in 1995, which is a popular tourist destination because of all the different reefs for scuba diving, snorkeling, just hanging out on the beach. And in 1980, the estimate of visitors daily was more than 7,500 people, so it's pretty densely populated place because that's daily. And due to this extreme amount of people, there was pollution and damage to the environment. So the Honolulu Department of Parks and Recreation created a management plan to minimize the number of daily visitors. This plan included creating an information area and counting a certain amount of people that are allowed to come in, not letting tours just drop individuals off, so limiting the drop off time to 15 minutes, and then they had to get somebody else and leave. They were closed on Wednesdays to try to give a day of cleaning and just repair to the park. And with all of these different with all of these different regulations created, the visitor count of the bay by 1994 went down to 4,492 daily, which is almost half of what it was. And cleaner water was observed, as well as more coral beginning to grow again in the reefs. So some drawbacks of limiting tourists would include local business owners who rely on the heavy tourism for income. They will be put at a disadvantage. For example, a survey was collected from tour and drive companies during the Hanauma Bay restrictions, and of 71 respondents, 30 had seen losses in revenue from 8 to 31%. So that's an example, a rather specific type of business. But if tourism were limited on each island or in every city on or areas on the islands, we would likely see other industries being impacted. Not only that, but an ecologist from Canada who worked on the Hanauma Bay study said that the bay should be closed for 1 to 2 years to allow the ocean park to recover. And taking that into consideration, the entire islands of Hawaii can't close. So that leads me to wonder if full recovery of Hawaii's ecosystem is possible. Overall, changes do need to be made, and that's clear because tourism threatens the nature, ecosystems, people, and overall stability of Hawaii. People who are local to the island deserve to have space to reestablish their roots, and Hawaii is a deeply spiritual and cultural place that isn't a stomping ground for people to do whatever they want. Regulations do need to start to be experimented with, and although there are going to be bumps and challenges, it's better to start now than after it's too late. These are my citations. Thank you.